If you want to live a life that is truly aligned with who you are, there are certain things that you gotta do intentionally. See, you cannot hope, you cannot wait, you cannot live your life as let's see what happened before being intentionally, or some steps that you need to take. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about how, if you want to start from zero, how, if you are feeling completely unfulfilled, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you are a manager, it doesn't matter if you're a CEO, it doesn't matter if you don't have a job, it doesn't matter if, especially if your life falls completely apart. This works, and there are certain steps intentionally that we need to take to remember who we are and be in alignment with what we are doing. I've been dedicated 6 years of my life like this. I was isolated, trying to figure out what was going on with me after my life fell apart and how get back on track, but not in the life that I used to live. Back on track on my terms, living as I truly wanted, living as the real me. But I needed to start remembering who I was. So let me give you a process on how to rebuild and restart your life from zero on your terms, online with who you truly are. Meaning, fulfillment, joy, satisfaction. Okay? This is it. Remembering. You may see it in the opposite side, but it's remembering. What we need to remember. We need to remember who we truly are. So see what I'm saying? Remember. I'm not saying finding myself. Why am I saying this? Because you don't find yourself. You remember who you are. Basically, the real you is already here. Why you don't see it and why you feel so frustrated is because the real you has been covered from things that you are not since you were a child, since you were a kid, beliefs that are not yours, opinions that are not yours, experiences that are not yours, whatever your eyes could see around in your environment. Okay, very conditioning from societies, families, parents. All these things shaped who you thought you were, but you are not. So what we actually need to do is shedding off everything that you are not, so the real you can rise naturally. You don't need to go, I don't know where to find yourself. You just need to come back and start shedding off everything that you are not. That's the remembering things. Okay? After remembering, here is what we need to do, okay? We need to be. We need to start being who we finally remember we are. Because if you're not being the person, nothing is going to change. So the secret is remembering, and that in the process of becoming, you need to be the person. What does it mean, being that person? It means start thinking, feeling, and acting as that person, as the real you. Because most of the time, we are in the process of becoming. We become our true self, but we are not being it. We are not acting like it. And that's the key. For so many years, I became the best version of myself. Still in the process, obviously. I became the version that is more aligned with the real me. But the problem was, I wasn't being it. I wasn't acting like this. So after we remember, we need to start being it. At the end, there is a third action that we need to take. And it is this. Build. We need to build our life around who we are being. We need to create our life around who we are being. Meaning, we are now surrounded by people that are truly aligned with ourselves. Meaning there is some connection, there's some connection that you need to let it go. Next, we create from that person. And when we are being this new you, the real you, ideas comes to mind, new opportunities that are aligned with this new you, the real you. Is not new, is the real you, comes to you. Opportunity, places, events, situations, new ideas on business that you want to start to come to your mind. Because when you are being the real you, you certainly don't want to work for anybody else unless it's really aligned with who you truly are. So a purpose may rise within yourself, a deep meaning, an impact that you want to make, that you truly believe on. So ideas start to emerge. You want to start your own business. You want to help that specific category of people. You want to do this and that. You want to give meaning. But we need to start building our life with intention based on who we remember we are and who we are being. Then we build. That's where your true life come from. Okay? That's where you're now living in alignment with who you truly are. That's why you're living from your heart, not from your logic. That's when everything seems magical again. Of course, it will be every day happy and joyful, and of course not. Life, remember, it will be always ups and down. There will be many difficult days to get over it, of course. But the how and the why, it's different. Now you are on your path. Now you know who you are, and finally you are creating something from within yourself. However, there is something that you need to know, and that is something that I spent 6 years overcoming it. There is a phase between this phase here, take a look, between remembering and being. This phase is usually the worst. Not the worst as you think it is, but this gap here between remembering and being, it could be the most difficult, the longest. This is where I spent 6 years on, in this gap. Now, am I saying that you need to spend 6 years? Of course not. That was me without any direction. That was me without any help. That was me trying to figure things out all on my own, connecting the dots, researching, start to go back on track every time that I was falling apart, etc., etc. And 6 years passed by. I wish I could have someone that already walked the path, telling me, do this, and that. Would I take 6 years? Probably not. What I'm saying is that by the time that this phase here usually is the most challenging one, because here is when you need to rewire your brain, change your beliefs, rediscover who you truly are, letting go of things that you're not, people, places. And this phase, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hard. However, when you pass this phase and you are finally being yourself, now, is going to be easy? Everything is going to be easy? Of course not. There are still things that will challenge you. There will be always things challenging you if you are constantly growing and evolving, okay? You will never stop challenging yourself if you want to expand yourself, if you want to grow. But now you are being finally the real you. You can feel it. Okay, you can feel in yourself, you can feel in others, because you start to see life from a higher perspective. You start seeing life in a way that nobody around you probably seeing in the same way. So you start to see other people's flaw, other people's beliefs, other people's pain, other people unhealed experiences from their childhood. It's something that you start seeing from a higher perspective, but they cannot. Here is where you know you are finally being a different version of yourself. You're finally being you. And then from the being to the build, usually what it takes is more courage and taking the risk. Courage for what? Because now between the being and build, it's you embracing and facing your probably biggest fears in terms of now I need to act like the real me. And for me, for example, it was being seen for who I truly was. It was being authentic. It was letting go of other people's opinions and judgment, putting myself out there. Because finally, I was the person, but it took some time for me being the person. For example, starting this new YouTube channel because I have fears from my childhood, from my past that I needed to confront now practically, right? So when you be, sorry for the mess here, but anyway, for the be and the build is going to be the dramatic, like the remembering and being up? Nope, but it's still challenging. So you need to force yourself now to act like the person that you have become. This is a simple process. It is going to be easier? Not, but it will change your life. That's how you change your life. That's how I was able to change my life. 6 years passed by, and so many things happened within these 6 years. But then I was able to put into words and into practical things and tools everything that I did that truly mattered, that truly worked to come back to who you truly are in the least time possible. Because we don't have 6 years, we don't have 10 years, we don't even have 3 years, 2 years, right? Who knows? Maybe tomorrow we don't even wake up. You know what I mean? Who knows? Okay, so if only someone have explained me this, remembering and being a build, and gave me the right tools, the right things to do intentionally, yeah, it would be much more easier. Okay, so this is a simple process, and if you apply this process intentionally, okay, you need to be intentional, because some people want to change their life, but they are not intentional. They live in hopes. They live in waiting. They live in if, and what if. I never heard about someone changing completely their life by hoping or waiting or let's see what happened. This let's see what happened is just a belief. I had this belief many years ago, prior to my inner transformation. I thought, let's see what happened. Let's live like this. It's not wrong, but it's not the right way, because when you are in the process of changing yourself, there are some moments when you need to surrender, but that's another story. You are already in the process of transforming yourself, and there are moments when, yes, you need to surrender, which doesn't mean waiting. It's a different story, okay? So if you are hoping and waiting without intentionally acting and come back to yourself, nothing is going to change. If so, let me know in the comment if you have specific questions, if you want to know, if you want me to go deeper into it. Write in the comment what you think about it, if you're taking action, if you didn't take action yet, where you are on your journey, because I really want to know and go deeper into all of this, because it's truly worthy if you truly want to change your life for real and for the better, and finally being aligned, finally waking up in the morning saying, this is me, and this is what I do, is what I love doing. That is not forcing yourself, that is not sacrificing in a negative way, okay? So let me know in the comments. I hope this video was helpful, and see you in the next one. Bye.